finally, the first Glasgow derby in the league this season. How important is this fixture in terms of measuring the level that the girls are playing at so far?
I think it's always an important fixture. This one, it's the one that everybody cares about. I think we've started the season really well, and we'll look to take it into Sunday. We obviously played them in the Glasgow Cup, which is a very different scenario, but we thought we played well that day. Pretty frustrating losing it the way that we lost it. So it is important, but it's still really early in the season. I think if anything, the important thing is to try and continue to perform the way that we've been performing, and then see how they react to it. It's obviously the first time that we're going into the fixture, or the first one of these fixtures, in the position that we're in, and we've not dropped points yet. So I don't think it's even just about measuring us, but it's also about measuring them and how do they deal with that situation, because I think every year before now we've been chasing already when it comes to these first fixtures, and it's just going to be interesting to see when that's on the other side, how not just we play but they play too. It's a very different scenario that we find ourselves in.
Yeah, like you touched on, it's been a fantastic run in the league so far, 30 points from the opening 10 games. How important is that momentum going to be in going into this derby game?
I think that is what's massive, to be honest, because like I say, we've not been in this position before. I'm really looking forward to it. The confidence is growing, the performances are getting better. I still don't think we've hit 10 out of 10. I still think we can go even better, and I think in the past we've raised ourselves to our highest levels in big games. So I can't wait to see how we play on Sunday. Like you say, we've been on a fantastic run so far, but Sunday is a Glasgow derby. It's the game in Scotland that everybody cares about, and it's really important that we take our performances so far into that game. But I still think we can go levels above, and I want us to do it at the weekend.
We saw how tight the league title got last year, coming down to the final game of the season with 3 teams still capable of winning that title. It feels so early in the season, but we are talking about it. How important does it make these fixtures even this early in the season?
I think the important thing is that we put in a good performance. We see what we get out of it. But like I said, I think the thing that we've never done that we've already done so far this season is relieve ourselves of the pressure of chasing. So yes, it's important at the weekend, but it is, like you say, really early. We're in a different place because we are not the ones chasing right now. But as much as I don't want to say it, you do also have to remind yourselves that this time last year folk wrote us off, and on the last day of the season we were seconds away from doing something historical. So massively important, but I think the performance is probably the most important part. See where that takes us, and yeah, hopefully if we get the performance that we want, then we get the result that we want to.
Some of the girls who will feature on Sunday won't have played in a derby game before. There have been some new incomings since the last one. How important is it that players like you, the other experienced players, Caitlin Hayes, Chloe Craig, prepare them for this game? While it is another game, there is slight differences out there.
Yeah, I think everybody that's come in has very quickly realised how big the club is. I don't think very many of them will have played in front of fans the way that we've got fans that turn up and create songs and chant your name. So I think there's no surprises on Sunday when there's a big crowd, because there's been crowds at every game that we've played in so far. With regards to the history and stuff, everyone that's signed knows that they've signed for one of the clubs, the world's biggest clubs, and the massive occasion of a Glasgow derby is already happened in the men's fixture. So I don't think there's any surprises, as much as explaining to them how big it is as a job that the senior players will take on. We will also try and make sure that they remember it is a game at the end of the day, that we want 3 points in. It just means more to everybody than a lot of other fixtures.
And finally, for me, Kelly, I do just want to touch on the support that you've mentioned there. We have seen it grow and grow over recent months, recent weeks, recent seasons. There's a Celtic Women Supporters Club now, and I'm sure that you draw on that when you hear them in the terraces. How important is that going to be on Sunday?
It's massive. I think everybody knows, and I think proven time and time again that we play better when there's noise in the stands, when the stands are busy. We did it last year. We really rose to the occasions here. We rose to the occasion at Hampden. We rose to the occasion on Friday night at Airdrie. Every time there's been a bigger crowd, we really use that energy. We love it. It's, it really does make you feel like you're playing for the size of club that you're actually playing for. And again on Sunday, it will be something that we speak about. There's very rarely a pre-match conversation when Fran doesn't mention the fans and how important our fans are, and the fact that they follow us absolutely everywhere. They were in Norway, they come to Montrose, they come to Aberdeen, they're running buses now. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing what they do, and we appreciate it so much that I can almost guarantee that at times when the going gets tough on the pitch, they pick us up and we push for them. It's the most important thing. They pick us up when times are tough. You still look over and see all the kids after the game clapping their hands, wanting an autograph, wanting a picture. And we try our best to give them the moments that we give them on the pitch, the good moments that we can celebrate together.
Given last season and how close it was between the three of you, and how you basically had one hand on the title, do you sense a conviction about this side, and do you sense a belief about them?
Yeah, but I sensed that last year as well. I don't think as this side I've ever felt like we've felt defeated on the inside. It's just not something that we do. I think we are pretty strong mentally, and I think we've proven it time and time again. Have we already faced difficult situations this year that we've dealt with to prove that we still have it? Yes. The Hearts game was difficult, the situation was difficult. It was Wednesday night, we'd played Champions League. There's the down after going out of the Champions League, and we still managed to go from 2-0 to 3-2. So there is a belief, but I think we've had that belief ever since Fran came in. I think it's something that he's really built in the team. He believes, the coaching staff believe in us, and he doesn't ever shy away from reminding us of that. So yeah, there's a belief, but I don't think it's new. I think it's something that we've had for a few years now. We always fight to the end in every single game and in every single tournament when we can. So it's still pretty early, and I think we've shown that we do still have that belief, but whether it's a different belief to prior years, I don't know. I don't know yet. I might be able to answer it at the end of the season, but right now I don't know, because it doesn't feel any different. I've never felt like we didn't believe that we were going to get a result in any game that we've ever gone into. We played the 2 Champions League games, and I felt like going into both of them, we fully believed that we could win them. So there is, like I say, there is belief, but I think we've had belief for the time that Fran's been in.
You've mentioned that it's so early in the campaign, but do you feel as though these games between yourselves and Rangers and the games against Glasgow City are definitive when it comes to the title and the title aspirations? Are these the games where you really need to be on top of, not just as an isolated games like this first meeting of the season, but across the entirety of the campaign?
It obviously is, yeah, because they're the 3 teams that are fighting at the top, but I think first and foremost you have to make sure that you take care of every single other game, and you have to make sure that when you're going into these games you're there and you're thereabouts. And I think last year there was a game where we went into, and it was almost like if you lose you're out of the league, and we didn't lose that night, but that's what the story was that was being told, was that if we lost we were out. So obviously at the end of the season, if all the top 3 teams win every single other game, then yes, these are the games that it comes down to. But first and foremost you've got to make sure that there's no slip-ups, and that's what we've done really well so far. I already mentioned the Hearts game, we were 2-0 down, we made sure we didn't slip up. So it is fairly early, the game's still massive, we want to win the game, we want to stay ahead and put the others in the position where they're chasing, because I don't think we've ever fully done that before, and it's obviously different pressure. This time last year we'd been beaten off of Glasgow City in our first game against them at Petershill, and then you're going into Rangers already behind on points, and it's reversed this year. City and Rangers drew and we beat City, so this year it's a different situation. But like I say, if we all take care of every single other game that we play in, then it will come down to these at the end of the season. But there's still 4 of them to go right now, so there's a few.
What about Caitlin? I think clocked up her 100th appearance last weekend. She's been a pretty big figure in these games, and she's kind of earned a reputation as this big game player. What's she like to play alongside, and do you need leaders? You need a couple of leaders in the dressing room?
I love playing alongside Caitlin. We've played beside each other for a few years now, and I feel safe. Hopefully she feels the same, but I feel safe. I think we've got a good understanding. You know, there's potentially headers that I should go and win that I just move out of the way because Caitlin will win, and we've got a pretty good understanding that way. And yes, in these games, especially if the going gets tough, you need your big players to stand up. I'm pretty sure it was the first goal against Hearts that Caitlin scored to start that comeback. She scored plenty in these big fixtures last year because she's got that presence that's intimidating. It's intimidating at training for us, you know. It's intimidating for everybody that comes up against it. She's not just tall, she's aggressive. And absolutely, I think in these games, all your big players need to put in a performance, and if they can't put in a performance, then they need to help the teammates around them in another way, you know. So a key figure in our team, and I know everybody knows, but she's been a key figure for years. Delighted that she's made 100 appearances. Nothing short of what Caitlin deserves. She's been amazing since she came in, and hopefully this season we can see her push on even further.
Just before I go, can I ask you about Scotland? Were you surprised not to be in the squad, or is there a reason for not being in it?
I've not spoken to the manager yet, but he has reached out, so I will speak to him today. It is what it is. I would class myself as a fringe player, so sometimes I'll be in, sometimes I'll be out, and I deal with that when it comes. You know, if I'm in, then great, and if I'm not, then I'll get a chance to have a rest, which is potentially a good thing for club football. You know, I've not really had a rest. It's been pretty chaotic since pre-season. We had the 2 Champions League games which went the distance, and so, you know, obviously when you're selected to represent your country, it's a massive honour, but if you're not selected, then you can't let it affect you. I've still got a job to do for Celtic, and a massive one on Sunday, and I'll potentially get the chance to have a weekend off and put the feet up and look after myself a bit for a couple of days that hopefully will mean that when we come back in after the international break, I'm flying from the club.
What was your feedback when you were involved from Pedro?
Feedback's always good. Really enjoy working together. Camps are hard. It's you're playing with some of the best players in the world, so nothing ever negative. Really positive. I really enjoy my time when I go, and yeah, I'll speak to him today, but I'm sure it'll all be positive.